Alright, hi everyone, Dave here at East Rosebud Fly and Tackle in Billings. Good morning. Today I'm going to tie for you a hopper developed by our friend Charlie Craven. It's called a Charlie Boy hopper. Hoppers are a summertime favorite, either floating or sunken, and one of these times I'm going to tie a sunken grasshopper pattern for you because most of them are taken subsurface. But a foam hopper is an excellent candidate for a hopper dropper kind of a combination. I especially like having a sunken ant as a tag off of a floating hopper like this. With a variety of threads, foam, legs, and markers means that there's a tremendous diversity of these types of hoppers that you can tie. You want a hook that's a big enough gap. Charlie recommends something like a 100 Tiemco or 100 SPBL. In the largers, I'm going to be tying a size 8. In the larger sizes, he recommends something like a 5212 or a 5262. These are 2x long hooks. I'm going to be using a wide thread, a UTC 210 Denier, so that I don't cut the foam. And I'm going to be using some regular banded legs and show you how to stripe them. So let's get this put together and tie the size 8, 5262, 2x long dry fly hook. I did some prep on materials for the legs. You can use anything you want. Centipede legs, barred sexy floss, makes no difference. I'm using some of this round rubber leg in strip form, just for something different. You have to take 3 strips, parallel strips, about, I don't know, 2.5 inches long or so, and tie a good secure knot near one end. Tie it tight, wait a few seconds, tighten it again. It's really hard to get these to hold, but you want to do that. Preparation for the legs and for the body, you need 2 pieces of 2mm foam. I'm just tying this with the yellow. The first piece of foam is hook gap in width, and then the body, kind of a reinforcement foam, is a strip that's just 2mm wide. So basically you just have a small square piece of foam here. Go ahead and impale your wider piece of foam about 3/4 of an inch down from the end and get it right in the middle. If you don't, your fly will look funny and the fish will laugh at you. Okay. And go ahead and make a thread base. This is 210 Denier UTC. I'm using this heavy thread because I need to put quite a bit of pressure on this foam, and a lighter thread, a round thread, will cut it like a hot knife through butter. So the UTC thread is a candidate for this. I'm going to wrap it all the way to the end of the hook shank, is right at the back of the barb, and then wrap it forward again. What we're doing is we're building enough underbody to help us glue this foam strip down. This is where this 1mm wide piece comes in. Start right behind the head and tie this down on the top of the hook. Again to the end of the shank, come back forward again. All we're doing is making the hook wider, gives us a little more purchase for our zap-a-gap. And then come right back down there to the end. Pull that off. Okay. Now we want the shorter end off of the back. Foam will stretch a little bit, so I'm measuring this right at the tip of the eye of the hook. Make sure the foam is up against the back of your foam base. Sorry, my hands are in the way, but right at the tip of the eye of the hook, making a hole. This we're going to pull over the eye, just like that. We want these ends to be cupped up a little bit. It helps to form the tail. Then I'll get our trusty zap-a-gap with a brush and really lay this on. Make sure that foam and thread are really well covered, just about a ½ inch up on the tail foam. Starting at the tip or the top, press this down, keep those foam pieces parallel, and keep that tail tipped up. Just press it down on top of that super glue. Now you can see why we went through the trouble of reinforcing that hook shank so that we had a little more purchase. Now, starting right at the barb of the hook, we're going to start making segments. We're going to make a couple of wraps, then put some pressure on it. You have to be very careful about not cutting that foam. We're going to make 4 segments. The next one's going to come over the top. I'll show you what it looks like right about the hook point. So we have something that looks like that. It keeps all of our thread crosses on top where it'll be hidden by the hair. Come to another one about the same width or just a little bit wider. Again, a couple of wraps before you tighten it down. The third one, a little bit wider than those. Okay. Now, with your trusty double-edged razor, I'm going to cut the tail parallel with the body. So lay the razor flat on top, push it straight back, and it gives you that jaunty little tail angle. Now that's wider than the actual body itself. We're going to take care of that by doing a little bit of a taper trim here. You know when you hit the super glue. Okay, same on this side, just a bit of a taper. And in the head, we're going to taper parallel. The head on a grasshopper is not bigger, or wider, I should say, than the body. And there you go, that's what it looks like from there. Now we'll start with the legs. We want the knot. This is our knee of our kicker legs. Again, I'm going to stretch this to make sure it's tight. We want the kicker to be at the hook bend itself. Right there. Keep this up high on the hook itself. Keep it up even with the top of the foam. 2 wraps only. Now we're going to cross over the top and make an X from our previous wrap. Pull this alongside. And again, 2 wraps, making sure that you keep it up on top. Take your other leg on your near side and do the same thing. Stretch that good. Make sure that knot is seated. Make it even with the other one. The reason we're only using 2 wraps of thread is to avoid unnecessary bulk. Make sure again that that's near the top of the foam. Cross over the top. And 2 more wraps. So basically you have all your X's on top. Now I'm going to split the front legs. I'm going to split out the middle. Again, apologize for my fingers. I'm going to split out the legs, like so. So I retain only the middle leg. Now this is something you can only do with this ribbon type of leg material. I'm getting there. All right, same thing on your side. Of course, movement is always important in a fly. It's the fish's attention, lets them know it's something viable to eat. All right, so what we're going to do now is cut off the 2 legs that are not in the middle. Be careful that you don't cut something you don't want. It's okay to cut them just a little proud in case you have any shrinkage. and then trim these. Trim these to about a little shorter than body length. Hold them together and cut them at the same time, like that. The rear legs we'll address when we get done with the thorax, which is some good long spinning hair. I'm going to take a pretty substantial bunch here and make sure it's good and clean, stacked. Another reason why I'm using this thick thread, I'm going to put quite a bit of pressure on this hair, and a thinner thread or a round thread would just slice right through it. All right, clean it. Use a big enough stacker so that the hair has room to move within the stacker or it won't stack. Take the hair out of the stacker with the tips pointing towards the rear. And we want the tips of the hair to be just about the length of the foam itself, if I recall. Let me double check on that. A little bit longer. Like so. Now, so I have my fingers right where we're going to tie down at the thread. I'm going to clip this right in front of my fingers. That way I won't have anything to clip after I tie it down. Two thread wraps, one on top of the other, and then really put some pressure on that. Make those guys flare like that. Another wrap in there. Again, put some pressure on them. We'll whip finish right through that hair. I think you can tell by now this is basically an unsinkable hopper. Between the foam and the hair, again, tighten that down. I'm going to put just a little bit of Zap-A-Gap here at the junctions of where the thread and the legs are tied together. And then the rear legs, we're going to do like we did the front legs, except I'm going to split out the lowest leg on each side. That, and just pull it apart all the way up to where the knuckle is. And then trim off the other two pieces. Make sure you don't cut the one that you intend to keep. It's a little late in the game to have to start retying this fly. Alright, if you ever wanted to put some marks on your legs, just use a Copic marker. I like to use that chisel end. The trouble here is consistency, but basically pull your leg and twist it, and just swipe your marker once down it. The more you twist it, the closer the stripes will be, all that. That way, and I'll show you this way. Just twist it, pull it, and one run down, and now you got a striped leg. Pretty easy. And then I'm going to trim these to be about the same length as the abdomen of the fly itself, like that. And you can also come in here and dot an eye in it if you want, right up here at the head. There you go, Charlie Boy's hopper. And like I said earlier, with the variations you have and colors of foam, legs, even hair, it's almost an infinite variety of different hoppers you can tie. We'll take a picture later of some of the ones that I've tied. Not a difficult fly to tie, very durable, great for a hopper-dropper combo. Grasshopper season isn't over yet, folks, so make sure you have some of these in your box. Thanks for joining. We'll talk to you later.